Hey guys, it's Al from Altruistic Channel, and I'm supposed to speak today about the marshes. So it's been long. It's almost like folklore to me, but it has a lot of truth. So I'm going to speak to it. We've spent so much time talking about the religious aspect to this switch that's occurring in worldwide, and how people are having to come into alignment with themselves, their higher self, and their lower self, the personality in the body, the soul merging with that, and then that merging with the highest possible incarnation of who you're meant to be. But I've spoken about it for a bit ad nauseum on the religious aspect. So let's speak about it from a philosophical standpoint, which is where my brain operates from. So it is believed if for, I think it's like since our ancestors, and probably before that, it's almost folklore, that the Earth is actually considered the marshlands cosmically. This is where we as souls incarnate in order to prove our worthiness to the divine, in order to receive our abundance, which is typically nobility of some kind. So, depending on if you believe in star seeds or depending on what your philosophical standpoint is on life, you are here to basically stand in your truth no matter what and go through the adversity that it is to live in a life where you don't necessarily remember who you're meant to be, and then find that path and walk that path with integrity, honesty, and humility. When you reach the destination, you basically receive your full-on self as a graduation. And so that's what the marshes are. It's the biggest test known to man because we were, in my opinion, given a blank canvas in life, and we were meant to find our path and walk with that integrity, honesty, humility, and find our unique qualities and embrace them, raise them up in a noble way that is humanitarian and that is filled with love and it's filled with a lot of things that are big thinking principles, right? So, in it, though, we are in a state of illusion, right? We have been asleep. And so, this process of switching that we're going through right now worldwide with the coronavirus, which is just an illusion, by the way, you have to agree, for the record, you have to agree for the exit. You must have fear of the coronavirus. You must be isolated to the point where you feel like you can't move, and the lower vibrations of the world around you will anchor you into a state of fear and a state of paralysis. And if you get stuck in that, then you are welcoming the virus into your life, right? Because that's your exit. It's basically saying you can't see beyond the veil of illusion. You know, more people died of pneumonia last year than will ever die of the coronavirus this year. And people are like, oh, well, we'll mutate. Well, so will HIV, but you didn't have a problem presenting us with a pill that you say is the answer to all things, where people are basically barebacking, and that whole thing hasn't played out yet. So you pick your battles. And so this is just a state of illusion that we need to fight through. It's part of the marshes. And so I'm supposed to speak to rising out of the marshes. So from a philosophical standpoint, it's not all that complicated. It's just how complicated we make it as human beings. And so let's try to keep this upbeat and fun, because what I'm encountering is it's not destabilizing me whatsoever. Like I'm actually just like, but it's starting to weigh down. Like people around me that are stuck in this fear state and this victimization mentality and lack mentality are starting to drain my ability to, because it doesn't affect me and it doesn't take my energy, but what it does is it just makes me every day go, why am I doing this in this situation? Why am I putting, and so I'm actually thinking about becoming homeless again and kind of just becoming nomadic and walking out of this, because it's a toxic quality to a very high vibrancy person. It really is. Because though I understand the fear and I understand where you're coming from, I'm in alignment with my purpose and I'm trying to raise other people's vibration to that state. Because this is so, when you look at this in 4 months, this is going to look ridiculous to you and it's going to cause you suffering because of what you did or did not do. The first thing out of the window I'm watching is humanitarian efforts. A lot of people are so stuck in fear and so freaking out that they're forgetting about the homeless population. They're forgetting about the people in prison, the people in tent cities that are across the nation that no one's speaking about because, oh, that's out there. We're in here. And you're being looked at and reviewed on this. And when you go up to, if you're Catholic, when you go face judgment, which you will, you are going to have to attest to why you didn't even acknowledge that this was going on. What are you doing about it? I'm a firm believer philosophically that If I get $4 in or $5 in, I'm putting $2 back out immediately. So I went looking for the homeless, and I was like trying to figure. So I had to interview these two guys that I finally found, and apparently FEMA had come through, and this is a rumor. This is not. I don't know for sure because no reporters are talking about this. They're all talking about that stupid fucking coronavirus. And instead of looking at what it's doing to the world at large, it's like almost like a superfluous overview. It's a facade. It's part of the illusion, and no one can argue that because where's your humanity? You're asking for the divine to step in and help you. Meanwhile, you don't give a fuck about anybody around you. And I'm just watching this, and it's just starting to drain me in a way that's just like it doesn't bother me, and it doesn't pull on my energy. It's just something I don't need to be around. And so I'm finding myself in a state of grace where I'm just like, okay, I'm supposed to lift these beings up, but at some point, the king becomes the emperor or the queen becomes the empress, and you have to walk away from the toxicity of it. And so, though I love the people I'm staying with because they are my savior and I love them to death, they have somebody in there is a little bit afraid, and so like it's pressuring like no, I can't go to the store, and like I'm not your baby. But in order for exchange to be there, I have to abide by these rules until I just decide not to. And so I'm thinking about just hitchhiking the fuck out of this place, and just going. You know what I mean? Like the swamps are not easy, guys. It's not like you get you get what you get. And so as I've been working through this energy, it's really amazing. I've been getting more and more downloads, but they're more and more severe, and they have or a severe edge to it because people who are stuck losing their mind are people who have in many ways done stuff against me. And so it's revealed to me all of my life these people have been sabotaging me, part of my family, and what's interesting is it doesn't factor into who you're seeing. It actually just made me stronger. And so I guess what I'm trying to say to everybody is follow the path of strength. You are going to feel like a complete fucking moron in about a month. And you're going to be tested in every possible way until then. And when you get to the gates of the pearly heaven, if you believe in that, or if you're a philosophical person or a scientist, you are going to have to, you're going to face humanity. And you're going to have to atone for what you did and what you didn't do. You know what I mean? Because we at the higher vibration can't carry the weight of the world. And so many of us are being put in situations where we know we're going to be safe. This is all an illusion. And so I'm waiting for the exit to present itself. And then I'm just going to take it. And I was anchored into like protecting family and trying to help everybody. And I just realized at some point that no, this is our individual relationship with the divine. It is very clear that no one is going to die unless they agree to it. No one is going to have to suffer unless they agree to it. This is very much the entire world is at a standstill. The divine does not play when the alignment needs to occur. And instead of acting in ways that connect you with your higher self, you're acting in ways that connect to your lower self, to the personality. Oh, I don't have a job anymore. I'm going to freak out like everybody else. I'm going to start hurting people. And what do you think is going to happen? How do you think that's going to go for you? It doesn't make logical sense, even on a basic, fundamental, like lower level. And so, don't get twisted here. And I'm supposed to say this very clearly, not cautiously, clearly. I said this yesterday, and I didn't understand what they were trying to channel me to the full regard that I see it. I had I had been getting this energy surge of a particular person I was being pulled towards in California, and I had two energies that were very clearly at my energy level, and I thought were both of light, like right. And so I had gone on last night when I had gotten two things in tarot channeled towards this particular person. I didn't know it at the time. First was my girl Nat, who is one of my mentors. I'm an Artegan. And she had channeled that morning about the Force is strong. And I'm not a Star Wars person. That was never my thing. And so my stepdad was really into that. So of course I went the complete opposite way. You know, I was a track runner, and I was popular, and I did all sorts of other stuff. And so I didn't really spend a lot of time in movies in the 80s and in the 70s, right? Like I was off doing other stuff outside. I'm not judging anybody who did the other thing. It's just it wasn't me. And so it wasn't part of that frequency for me at the time. I was always outside. riding bikes, doing climbing trees, beating. I mean, it was just boy stuff and girl stuff because girls were equally always present in our grouping. But remember, I considered the top five. I was in the top five most of my life as a teen. I didn't understand the concept of it because it was so miserable. I was like, oh, woe is me. Life sucks. Why am I so pretty? Why does everybody stare at me? I don't find myself pretty. Oh my God, I'm gay. Blah, 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 blah. It was just, ugh, gosh. And so the interesting part was I was in the top five. And so I was surrounded by these girls who I would say that if I was ever going to go to war, I would rather go to war with a man because we will duke it out. One will kill the other one, and then we just move on. It is what it is. That's that. These girls, man, in the top five, they would destroy each other daily. It was like gay men when they become in like bartending gay men. Those catty, oh I love you, but I'm gonna tear you apart, and we're gonna be low frequency, and we're gonna manipulate each other, and we're gonna tear each other down because you can't be happy, I'm not happy. But it was like teenage girls, and so like it's almost even more intensified at that level with ladies. So I'd made a comment about how I was being driven towards this guy. I had never met him, but his energy signature was so strong that divine was guiding me. So the channeling that came through Natalie was that the force was strong with me. And it was specific, it was a message directed, I knew it for me, because of all of what surrounded the actual text of it. And so I was like, I don't, and she and I both, she had a moment where she's like, is it Star Trek or Star Wars? And I'm looking at the screen going, you're asking the wrong Artigan, honey, I didn't do that. And so she was like, I'm a Lord of the Rings girl, and I literally responded to my desktop. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't know. And so then I could not sleep to save my life. I've been trying to get as much rest as possible because I'm about to get catapulted and there's all this stuff coming. And I can't sleep. And so I'm like starting to get a little miffed because I'm like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? I've already studied everything I need to study for this phase. I mean, there's so much more to come. Don't get me wrong. And there's always time to study. But what I'm tasked to do is to lift. And so then when we get to the switch, then everything will be revealed as to where the next part of the path is. And so this is about temperance. It's about patience. And so I'm trying to be patient. I'm sitting there. And I can't sleep. So the next thing I know is I end up getting on my YouTube page, there was a suggestion to check out a particular Cancer tarot reading. And so I look and it's this girl, I've never seen her before. She was cute. I can't remember your name, sweetheart. I'm sorry. But in the middle of her channeling, she goes, all I can tell you is that your person, leather jacket, is what she said. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what does a leather jacket have to do with anything? And so that now I've got two ambiguous little messages. And so it resonated with me. So and it was a higher self, like kind of going, no, just check mark that and write it down. And so the next thing I know is at the very top of when I refreshed my page, this guy's page was at the very top again. I was like, what the fuck? So I click into it. It's a long session. He has an incredibly good program. And so this person was wearing a leather jacket. And I went, what? I'm like, okay. And so I'm listening to it, and I'm not paying attention at first to the leather jacket. I saw it, but I was just like, oh, it's coincidence. This motherfucker then goes on to say, the force is strong. The person that he works with said it. And so he goes, yeah, the force is strong with you. And I went, motherfucker, it's you. It's you. And so I got like this download of possibility. And so I went on YouTube last night, late at night. I think it was like 12:30. And I posted something to that person to acknowledge that I knew that that was a possibility. But I didn't finish watching what his episode was. And in the middle of it, he got to Cancer, and he said something. He said that you're not willing to step outside of your box. And then he said something very specific. He said, and he can understand this because this is not my baggage anymore, but he literally said, and talking to the other person, he goes, you can ask him. I've got people saying that they are involved with me in the 5D and that we're somehow sexually involved in the astral world. Now, I've never said that we were involved in the astral world, but it hit a mark on me, and I went, okay. And it reminded me of that movie 200 Cigarettes, which is one of my favorite. I love that movie. It has Martha Plimpton, Christina Ricci. It's just a great movie. Ooh, now I want to hear that song. I want candy. Anyway, high vibration. It's always upbeat. And so I was just like, hi, I want candy. And so I'm thinking about, and there's a part where one of the actors is meeting Christina Ricci, and she goes, I think I'm in love with you. And the person says, oh my God, this is a curse. I can't believe it. Oh my God, why does everybody always fall in love with me? Blah, 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 blah. And so Christina Ricci just goes, oh, poor, no, it was Kate Hudson. Oh, poor you. Poor you. Poor person that gets love from all these different places and is so ungrateful to blah, blah. And so she goes on. And it reminded me of this conversation. Because even though it was it could have triggered my ego, what bothered me about it wasn't that it was almost directed at me, because I'm not egoish. So I was like, well, there's probably a lot of energy coming to this person because they are very high vibration and that's what they're about. But yet here they are saying, oh, woe is me. I have all these people thinking this, and oh, that's just crazy. Meanwhile, they're talking about that this is a place, a switch, where we spiritually get to evolve. And immediately my higher self went, nope. And my lower self went, nope. And that was it. I took down the post, and that was that. And so I literally heard the divine say, don't stand in your own way. I go, no, no, no. And this is one of the honest conversations that all of you will be having with your interaction with the divine. Remember, the divine is getting to know you as a soldier, as a warrior, so that you can become king or queen, and then evolve into emperor or empress. So you need to have honest conversations with the divine from the swamps, so that they understand what this is doing. Because remember, this is unprecedented. We have never had the world shut down, and we've never had the swamps come to complete stop in order to make this switch before. So they're learning just as much as we're learning. The divine is ultimately all-knowing. He knows that it's all going to work out. There's no other option. But the variable is the brain cells that are active in this scenario. And what they're doing and how they're reacting is up to them. This is our community test. And so I said, I go, no, 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 no. You're not going to do this with me. I go, at this point in my life, I have gotten to a point where I'm comfortable with my intuition and I know who I am. In this scenario, in this dynamic of what's being built with me right now, is I'm coming into union with someone somewhere and I'm getting the information and I'm following my intuition. You're not going to sit there and tell me now that, oh, don't get in your own way, when this person literally just put a shout out, not even if it wasn't consciously, that shut it down and made it secondary, and it made me feel a little awkward. And I'm not doing that. I'm not going to devalue myself by being with somebody who looks down upon people who connect with you on a 5D when you pretend to be on a 5D. I'm not going to do that. And so the divine literally goes, okay, 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 okay. And that was it. And my guides were like, attaboy, but it was something that in the swamps. You are in the swamps. You are proving your worthiness to yourself. And so you must show up with integrity and you must show up with humility and honesty. And if you can't have these honest conversations with the highest version of yourself, which is the divine, which is your replication of the divine, you are just his brain cell, if you will. And so you have to understand that the brain does things and signals, and it goes back and forth with the heart and with all these different organs. And so there's dialogue. There is an exchange happening here. It's not a one-way system. It's not a dictatorship. That's what we're moving away from. And so the divine was like, I got it. No, 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 that makes sense. It was that kind of cadence to it. So getting out of the swamp is going to require, and by the way, this person, if I have this wrong or I took it the wrong way or if my ego has a part in this, which it doesn't, this is just a gut reaction. I don't have time. I'm running out of time. And what I'm looking for is a partner who understands there are no limits. And so I'm looking for, I thought this was might be a real connection, but obviously you're playing it down, so that's just not going to work for me. And so that's just straight up. And so, oh my God, my guides are like just tripping out on me right now. So it's a lesson in when you follow your intuition, it doesn't always work out because it's not meant to. What is the divine was showing me that the other person is the one that I need to be pursuing. That this was, yes, this was a high vibrancy connection that I had with this person, maybe. Or maybe it was all an illusion, or maybe it was all in my head. But the fact that I can comprehend it, follow it, track this person down, get the clues, and lead me there, and then get the lesson, and not be triggered to fall under vibration, separates us, right? It separated the two. And I'm not better than this person because I still think this person is the cat's meow. He's a sexy beast, and it's just unfortunate that this is how it played out. Not my baggage, not my show, not my monkeys, not my show. Okay? But it did release almost like I feel lighter because I stopped focusing on how this is going to work out. I don't care anymore. It will work out. I'm not worrying about the details. It's out of my control at this point. It's out of your control. What you are being tested is what's in your control. So here's the thing. I may end up walking out of where I'm living just because out of sense of self. Just because my integrity is telling me, look, this is there's nothing that's not anchoring me, it's not triggering me, but it's just why are we doing this? We're gonna be okay. Let's just go. Let's go. And so, but the logical, the Capricornian side of me is going, wait a minute. Before we do this, but we agree, before we exit, remember what we said initially. The download we got was by Saturday, we're out. The exit will present it Saturday. And so I was just like, okay. And so the tension went bloop. And I was just like, all right. Well. And I fell right asleep. You're being tasked with things that are left field, right field. We're still ending this Pisces season, which is why it kind of was like, really, I felt a little disappointed with this person. Because I'm like, you are all about this subject. You are all about the stars and the cosmos and the lessons, and that we're still in a Pisces in this imaginative phase. The world has shut down. You are dreaming of a love that you can't see, possibly because you literally say to all the people that are on that frequency, that are in this band, that is actually embracing the divine guidance to you, you are saying clearly, I'm looking down at this. If you're a king or a queen, then you might get stuck in that game with this person. But I was like, I'm going, this is an emperor moment. I was like, fuck that shit. And I went, later. And so it is what it is. But it's a value of yourself. It's how you get out of the swamps. You can't stay in this state of fear. It doesn't work. And so you're going to start to see people's true colors. And though I love where I'm at, I love the people. These are people that I will be seeing shortly in Eden, if you will, whatever you perceive Eden to be, in your new future abundance. These people will be there. I know that for a fact. But it's becoming a situation where I'm not going to be told by anyone on the planet that I cannot go outside. No one. Because what they're saying is that I might come back with something and that they're in danger. So again, on the lower frequency, it's saying that they're putting themselves above the happiness of the house. But at the same time, it's a realistic quality to ask someone that if you're staying, because I'm not paying rent, I'm staying here, I was homeless. And so I cannot say to them, well, that's kind of selfish when you know what I mean? So it's a survival thing. So I'm going to trust my instinct and I'm leaving by Saturday. That's just the way it's going to go down. And I'll probably hitchhike out. I will be just, my guys are like, no, you won't. But you are being tasked with stuff like this. And the higher frequency you are and the more ascended you are, the more the tasks are going to be pretty gnarly. But I'm not going to get stuck in a state of suffering. New Orleans has not popped yet. When it pops, I am not going to be here. It is not going to go well for you if you are not in alignment with where God's trying to get you to go. I know I'm heading towards Cali. I mean, it's either Cali or Florida, but Florida is such a stalemate. I'm just letting that go. Just like I'm letting this person just go. If these people are meant to be part of my life, they're going to rise. But it's almost like a Queen of Wands moment. I'm embracing the Queen of Wands in me and being like, no, 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 no. If you want this, you're going to now come and you're going to prove it to me. Because now I'm seeing shades that are not of the best light. And even if this does sabotage it, I'm still walking into my purpose, and I'm walking into it with my integrity, my honesty, my humility, and beautifully happy and upbeat and loving life. And that's what I'm fighting for. I'm walking out of this living situation, not because I have anything against the people, because they are loving, and I will see them in less than a couple months. And you know what I mean? But it's just, I need to embrace the beauty of life. I need to embrace everything healthy, the sunlight, interacting with other people. This isolation is for you to meditate if you are not in alignment. But if someone's in alignment, don't hold them in because they're not going to get anything. They don't carry this. It's not their burden. It's not their journey. And so I'm feeling very suppressed. And so I can go two ways. I can either look at it from the standpoint I'm going out from being sheltered into the cold, or I can say, no, I'm leaving the fear and I'm leaving all of that bullshit behind and I'm walking into my purpose. And that's where you start to get out of the swamps. I have not had an easy journey, and so this is where the haters come in. I have just found out that everyone that I've ever loved, not everyone, there's like a couple people who've never done me wrong, but it's like three people. Three fucking people. And I am so loving the fact that I have been grateful for my life, and I have always gotten up. Every one of these people I've watched lay down in the snow, and I've helped them get up over and over and over again. And now I'm looking at them, and I just kind of look at them, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to help you anymore. Because no one, not one of them, when everything came crashing around me in graduation, which was my graduation gift from the divine, was that I lost my job, I had no money, I was homeless, and I was on the streets. This is before the coronavirus. And the journey was for me to ooh, truth. And the journey that was oh my god. And the journey was for me to pick myself up and be in place by the coronavirus, because I was going to lead by example in this scenario. But I needed to acknowledge and register what the lesson was, take it and run with it forward, and be the light, and be the embracing and uplifting person. And so that's what I did. And so in that moment, I ended up being prepared for this. And so, but looking back, every single person had an opportunity in my life to step forward. There were two people. The girl that I'm staying with, who I love, and then another woman from Canada. They were the only two. My family didn't have time for it. There was bullshit. There was like, oh, I can't right now, blah, 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 blah. I can't even bring you cigarettes. Something happened. You're out. Gone. You are on you have your own path. And it sounds like a bitch, but I'm not being a bitch. I'm being the emperor. I'm cutting out the bullshit. I'm not carrying the weight of other people anymore that are not in my best interest. And obviously, if you can't give me your couch and you are my family, then you are not my real family. I'm going to find my family. And so that is what it was required to get out of the marshes. Because it has been one thing after the other. If you think your life has been complicated, buy the fucking book. I mean, seriously, buy my book. Buy the Arcs of Eden, and then you will be humbled, and you will understand in a way that's not egoish. It's just, the guy who raped me emulated Jesus Christ. Then I ended up in a cult. My parents did not love me. I didn't have a father. I went into the drug world. I had promiscuous sex all over the fucking place. My mom died by the time I was 26. I was left orphaned. My dad chose the church over me. It has been one thing after the other. And every time I was just like, all right, here we go. Let's get up. Now, don't get it twisted. I was super depressed, and I had to fight through the swamp, and I had to fight my way out. And now that I'm at they call it the ship. I'm not a big alien person, although I know that they are here, and I understand some dynamics that other people don't. And I understand that many of them are actually incorporated into humanity, and they are the ones that are judging you and watching you. Because it's all an illusion, so you know that you are safe. So the people who are assumed that we presume are crazy, or that they are homeless, but there's some quality to them that entrances you to them. What if they are not from our species? They're kept alive. They are kept alive. You cannot get rid of these people. If you do, it would be a horrible crime against humanity. So the question then becomes, what is it you're not seeing? Well, I see them. And so I know who they are. And so I'm out of my mind trying to figure out how to help these people. People in general, because it's not these people, it's people. How do we help each other through the marshes? That's the only way out. Everyone has to come with, otherwise it's going to be a very, very stratified system, and we're trying to move away from that patriarchal bullshit. So understand that you are being tested in a multitude of ways. It reminds me of my bracelet. I've been wearing these things. They all came to me as gifts from different people. Do you know what I got for graduation? I forgot to mention this in one of my earlier posts, but a friend of mine who would later betray me in a very Judas kind of way. I was without any money, and we were doing I think it was drugs, and I had $10 to my name, and this person asked for it, and that they would come back, and they took the $10, and I was left with no food and no water for 4 days. And I had a choice. I could either be really mad about it But this person had precedent, and I kept getting bitten by the snake. And so finally I just said, fuck the snake. It was a good snake. I mean, a really nice snake. And a really genuinely beautiful person. But I learned that I needed to love these people from afar. And so that was where the lesson came in, where God swept through and I became homeless. It's a harsh lesson. Look, yo, I don't know where the yo comes from, but yo, none of you can say that I'm not earning where I'm going. None of you can even pull me down anymore. And so this is where the haters come in. In the swamps, you will have people as you succeed in this journey and you're building your arc out of the swamps, and as you raise into the stratosphere of humanity and you rise and you become, I don't know, president, or you become a Nobel Peace Prize winner, or you become the humanitarian that gets a Purple Heart, or you go on to do these wonderful, amazing things that defy gravity and defy the laws of logic. You did it with integrity, honesty, and humility by building your fucking arc, and you listened to the divine. And when you learn these lessons, they no longer sting you. I mean, I totally saw what could have happened. In a lower frequency, this interaction with this person that I thought was special would have triggered my insecurities and would have brought me. I just was like, okay, and I went right to sleep. That is peace. That is PEACE. That is what the divine is giving you. Is a sense of calmness and understanding that this is all a test. And most people are failing miserably. So what do? They go after the people who are not failing. The people who they feel have always been lucky, yet they've never bothered to spend time talking to me about why people love me. It's because of my soul. It's because of my purity of intent. It's because I will literally, up until recently, I would have died for other people. And so because of that process, you have to understand that I literally had to go through it in order to make it to this point. And so I'm at a park, so the kids are going to be playing, and you might hear voices. But that's, if you pay attention to that, then you're not. This is not for you. But so the haters have been there my entire life. And when I say the divine has shown me who they are, I know faces, I know names, I know who they are, I know what they've done, and all I can say is, blessed be the soul that can rise above the misfortune in which they enrich their lives. Because these people, I have watched them lay down over and over again. And who's the one person they come to? Me. It's the one thing that it was a quality that I used to carry with me. It was a burden. And I just finally was like, fuck that shit. You all are on your own. And you can, and here's the funny part. The divine was very clear with me this morning. He goes, they can't touch you. They no longer can touch you. Because you feel the arrow hit you and you just look at it and pull it right out. That's what a warrior does. That is what an emperor does. You get it, you get hit, and you just go. And you don't taunt them. You do a graceful gesture. You just you either disregard it entirely, and you acknowledge it. Like I just acknowledge it on the YouTube channel. I do just acknowledge it because that's just where I'm at. But I'm sorry, guys. They're just gonna keep talking. But the thing is, like, when I mean, it's a park. They better. It's life. They're having a good time. Like, I'm not gonna begrudge that. But when it comes to it, they're going to get even more vicious when you rise. And so the task here is to just do what I do and just kind of disregard it. The way Natalie put it best is you just kind of turn and you just avoid as much as you can. And then if you get hit, you just go and you keep going. That is your vibrancy. That is your life. That is your light. And so that is how you're going to get through this switch. And when I say it's this weekend, oh my gosh, I wish I could express to you the dire straits that you're in right now. Whether you are a Bible thumper, or whether you are a scientist, or whether you are any of that, you're going to encounter your reflection here. And you're going to encounter it in a brutal kind of way. Because on the flip side of this, when you get back from your judgment, when you are faced with the mirror of what you've become, and when you realize how stupid you look, and how low level frequency you have let people anchor you, if you are ascending, You are back at ground zero, and you're going to have to build again. Because even those people who are high vibrancy, we're at a state where we're going to have to rebuild our lives. But for those who ascended through this without much of a problem, with literally looking at it as just an illusion, we're going to go bam. Those of you who did not, and you still have time, that's why I'm putting this out there. That's why they want you to know how to get out of the marshes. If you turn this around and you start to embrace life and you go back outside and you start to acknowledge other people and interact with people you don't know and start caring about humanity, then you're going to do exceedingly well and you will be more abundant than I could possibly show you. Having said that, those of you who are not there yet, you better start fighting. You better start kicking and swimming up to the top of the sea where you're at, because these marshes are about to swallow a lot of people. And unfortunately for you, it is not, how do I say this? It is not your baggage if you are not in the marshes anymore. If you are not in the marshes, you are going to be given exits, and loads will be dropped, and you will ascend faster and further away, and the stratification will become huge, because you're going to have to lift off, and you're going to separate, because everyone left in the marshes is now going to have to work it out, and they're going to have to build it, and they're going to have to build their ark, and they're going to have to start all over again, and the rest of us are going to be in a different space. It's like the parallel existences. Just like there are existences that exist on this planet that are not consciously known for us now, those of us who are ascending, it will be revealed, and you get into a different stratosphere. You're still very much interacting. The people who are jumping off of the out of the marshes are now hovering over the marshes and trying to get as many people as they can. And so we're heavily going to be now taking positions of political party leaders, or you're going to be seeing actors who become different type of muses, and you're going to see an evolution in their life. It's going from, the way that it's defined to me is, instead of going from the 2, you're jumping to the 4. You're passing the 3. The 3 has been its entire process. So when you get to, you won't know the 3. Like, people always focus from going to 3-dimensional to 5D, but no one ever speaks about the etheric part, the 4D. And so it's like that. You're going from 3 and then you're jumping to 5, or you're going from 4 and you're jumping to 6. And so as that happens, understand that you are going to be rewarded where you're at, spiritually and physically. Now, here's the interesting part. Because it's all an illusion, and because the physicality is a falsity, you're going to be more in alignment if you are more spiritually active and seeing beyond the veils of illusion. And for my personal opinion as Al, you will get much further by welcoming people like around you. So like, whereas other people would get pissed off that I'm in the middle of posting this thing and there's families here, I'm the opposite. I find it engrossing and uplifting, because it means people are exercising and they're getting out and they're not being stuck in their house, and they're not. This is where the survival of the fittest is going to show the best. And so, though I am all about uplifting, I am also probably one of the most deadly people on this planet at this point. I don't tolerate bullshit. There's an energy around me that is very super cautious about me having, when I go, when I snap, no matter how justified they are, they don't like my temper, then you are not for me. You are not my one. Keep going. And the divine is really pissed that I'm saying this, but I, I trust the divine, but the divine trusts me. And it's up to me in the end. I don't have patience for people who are going to allow other people to try to cut me down. That's not where we're going. Where we're going is we're uplifting the world. And so people who come in a very low frequency to tear down people I love at high frequency, I'm not going to be nice to you. It's going to be swift and it's going to be brutal, and I'm going to walk away without any scars. I'm just telling you right now. That's not ego. That is high vibration. I'm going to defend my vibration to the death. I mean, it's not that dramatic, y'all. Like, I have no problem picking up a sword and, fist fighting, but that's not where we are. That's not logical to where we're heading, and my guides are just cracking up. Like, it's not going to happen. But I am the wrong person to tempt to do that, because that is a vibration that I'm willing to step down in. I can dip, and I can dip low, and I will dip low, bite the head off, and then come back up. Like, it's not. The divine's laughing now. Sorry, Joe. Okay, now I'm just so crazy. I'm sorry, the divine's cracking jokes. It's the separation between a king and an emperor. You see, in order to make it from a king, and I love that they use tarot because it's something that relates to me. A lot of you find this very, lower frequencies find it as very egoish, and I'm just done playing this game, so I'm just going to speak to the higher frequency people. Kings become emperors when they learn that to be a high frequency does not mean that you don't defend yourself. In fact, you become even more protective of the ones you love and the people that you're in care of. If you can't do that, if you are stuck feeling like someone is holding you down, then you are not taking accountability, right? In the end, I'm going to, if I need to, die for my lover. That is, like I said, the lioness is always, be more careful around a lioness who has a cub than a lion. Okay, my king is probably a lion. I keep getting this Leo thing, and it has to do with my Leo rising. But so it could just be me stepping into myself in the feminine Cancer and the masculine Leo, whatever it is. But there's another energy around me that is either a Libra or a Leo. I get a lot of Taurus and a little bit of Aquarius, but Aquarius, I already know who that is, and that person, they checked out a while ago, and so they would have to come back man up, and they would have to come back emperor. Just putting that out there. The Leo the original Leo that set up this whole Leo chain of events, don't even bother. Not the one that's not the most recent Leo. I'm talking about the Leo from when I went to Judgment, who decided to stay into the drug world and decided to betray me and never care about. Don't, you are not welcome here. And the divine was very, very clear with me about this. I had to make a clear decision because this was someone I was karmically in debt to. But the way that it played out, the person chose the swamps over the higher frequency, and I was basically told, exit. Do not anchor yourself. You cannot fix everything. You cannot fix a person. You cannot fix a situation. They are not fixable things at times. If the key is broken, then don't open that door. Walk away from the door. And so, if you think it's pleasant, this person was someone I was meant to be with. This was actually a twin flame. This was a twin flame that I was destined to be with, and the divine and I worked this out in a way that you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what it's like to have to walk away from a twin flame. It's not possible. And the divine had to literally assure me that I was going to make it, because I was like, well, what the fuck now? Now I'm getting on this arc and I have no one to go with. I'm supposed to, and it was bad because it's free will. You know, that's what I'm saying. Just because the divine knows it'll work out for everyone involved, it doesn't mean that that it works as the way it should have. And so I had to walk away from my twin flame, and he chose to succumb to the swamps. If I would have stayed, yes, eventually we would have made it. But think of the cost to my soul, and to think of what love would have happened. I am the embodiment of a loving being. I'm the mushy part on the outside and the detrimental part. I'm not detrimental, but the dangerous one on the inside. Because I can see your weakness before you've reached me. It's an energy shield thing that I have. I can read you. I can read you physically, mentally, and because I've learned to assess my surroundings by energy, and that was the little topping that I needed, right? And so, as the emperor rises, you have to be able to defend what's yours, and you defend it, because otherwise, who's going to do it for you? At the end of the day, you are the only one that's going to go to judgment. You are all being called. You are the one going by yourself. Your kids are not going. Your mother's not going. It's you. And so you better be high frequency. But understand that at times you will be tested to defend what's yours, because otherwise, how will you ever cherish what you've got? That is a harsh lesson. And so, though I'm the Cancer sweetheart and everybody thinks they can fuck with me, I am also the most vicious lion that you will see. And I don't regret what happens. And it's a very, very interesting clarity of peace and purity. It's because I have integrity and honesty. And because at the end of the day, my husband, my partner that is going to step forward, I believe this weekend actually, I don't know where that's coming from, but I'm being channeled this weekend. He's stuck on something. I don't know what it is, but he's going to get over it this weekend, because let's go. I'm not staying and suffering in New Orleans for nobody, for nothing. Bounce. Bounce. That was my guide. I have a guide. Okay, so let me explain guides. So everyone on the planet is born with souls. It's your imaginary friend when you're a kid. And these souls are in charge of making sure that they get you to where you need to be. You know how some souls cannot incarnate in the physical form? Either because they physically just can't materialize what they need. Like, there are some souls that are incarnate love, like purity of purity of purity. And they deal with kids. And so they are always protective of the child, but that's it. They have no self-preservation. They don't have any energy field it is just God's immortal love for your child. That's why when you make the switch and everybody goes to sleep and you wake up and you come back from judgment, the kids are super safe. Like, these are energies cannot live in physical form, because to live in physical form means you must go through the swamp. So that means that you have to chip away at the purity. This is pure light that protects your children. And so in that energy, they are as you grow, this energy can grow with you. Remember, no energy is without a justification in life. There's no energy on the planet that does not prosper under the guidance of the divine or the universe or whatever you want to call it. At some point, we really need to just define this as just source or universal consciousness. Whatever you guys all want to decide on, let's just pick a point and just go with it, because the separate deity thing is gone. Like, that's not going to make the switch. But anyway, moral story is, this energy grows with you. And so the harsher your swamp experience is, and the more that you get lost in the experience, your guides grow as warriors with you. And so these are energies that are so pure of light that they're going to keep their light despite the impossibility of practicality in that. And so my guides are fucking the bomb. I'm talking about these motherfuckers are the shit. From what I can understand, because they don't have a gender. The gender is for our lower frequency. Now that we're evolving past that, that's where gender neutrality comes from. That's why people who are bisexual are finding it easier to become who they are, which is gay or straight or whatever it is. It's easier to pick because you're now able to stand in your power, in your voice. And so these energies are not defined, but one is very feminine. She is the Lilith to my male god aspect. So this chick she reminds me of Xena. For some reason, I just got that channel. She's like Xena. She's more deadly, I think, than the boys are in the male, because there's two male energies that are. One's brand new. I've always had. I think I was always two. It was Robert and then Lilith, and then I got this new one. And now I think I'm at 4, but it's because they had to beef up my security. The Divine, I remember the Divine, when they said to me, he goes, dude, we had to beef up your security. Like, you were getting, like, and I'm like, I knew, but because I'm a Cancer, I'm the loving maternal figure. I will self-sacrifice. I used to. And now I don't. But it doesn't mean that I'm still not going to be, like, the maternal dude, like, running around going, are you alright? Are you alright? Like, yesterday I had $10 to my name. I gave out $8 to the homeless kids because I have a place to sleep. And because my humanity is equally as important as other people's humanity, and I was looking at them and they were swept up in these concentration camps, and I was like, well, if they get swept up, let me give them a little money so that they have hope. It's about providing hope. So if you can give somebody money, first of all, it was a human interaction. Everyone is so terrified of human interaction that the fact that you should have seen the tears in this dude's eyes. It was a humanitarian effort. I went out of my way when I first got a job. You guys remember, I was in the park, and I had just gotten my job back, and I was just building from the tower moment that just collapsed everything, which of course was a blessing because it prepared me to survive this without even thinking. Like, I'm thinking, I'm just walk the fuck. I'm just going to walk. And then I will find my path. But the Divine's like, no, you're not. And I gotta trust the Divine. Divine knows what he's doing. I'm not the Divine. I am a reflection of he, she, it. I'm a reflection of that energy incarnate. But I'm not that person. I don't plan on being anything bigger than I am. I'm just Al. At the end of the day, all I want to be is Al. And yes, I'm called the Hierophant. And yes, I see the political aspects starting to sprout. And yes, I see like all these different paths that are emerging. And yes, I see that the things are about to kaboom for me this weekend. It's not just feeling it, it's seeing it. And all the energies around me are like, we're ready for this. And I am. But it took me working through all of what you all are encountering. And it took me 40 years, technically 30, because by 6th grade, I had already known that I was special. But it was after that, when I went into the cult and it destroyed me. It literally destroyed me. I had already been raped by Jesus by this point. But that was nothing in comparison to what happened with the cult. And my teenage years were just... So, when you see an emperor in front of you that was a king yesterday, understand that it's because all the dots are connected. And it's an energy shield and an energy field that has now literally encircled me. And I'm choosing my partner according to if they arrive to me as an emperor. Because here's the thing. I've spent my entire life as an emperor, and I'm never going to not be an emperor. But I'm embracing the empress side of me. So it's more of the warm, gooey part, but with the viciousness that goes with it. Like, I'm not joking with myself, or I'm not lying to myself about the ability to snap. Like, it's going to be an equal partnership, reciprocal. It will never be, you are never going to be bigger than me. I'm never going to be bigger. We're going to share the light equally because we're going to be in the public. Honey, just know that. Uh, the divine is cracking up. Uh, but it's going to be so. But I'm embracing that empress aspect to myself. And so understand that now, because I am the emperor, I've spent 40 years as emperor, I open doors for women. I stand on the outside when I walk. So if you are going to come to me and now be my emperor in this dynamic, then you're going to come and you're going to show up as an emperor. It will be a southern emperor. It will be somebody with class. It will be someone with integrity, with honesty, with humility, who will rule the kingdom with us. Like the way that whatever the emperor empress-ship dynamic that we have, we're going to build shit that's amazing. But we're going to do it with love, and we're going to do it with compassion. And the first one that gets it is me and you. I will give you my heart and my life. In exchange, I want love and your life. And we will balance it out. No one is more important than the other. We're not codependent. I will have my businesses, you will have your businesses, and then we will have our businesses. And it will be equal down the middle. That's how this is going to go down. But having said that, I want my office, you have your office. I want my date to myself with my boys, you have your date with your boys or your girls or whatever it is. But we are going to have separate dates. I'm going to have my own... we live together, obviously, and we're going to be married and all that stuff. And it's going to be a holy union, and I see all that. That's wonderful. I can't wait. But I'm not anchored to the other person. That is what this is about. It's about showing up as two kings or two queens or king and queen. And both of you understanding that you are equal in every way. So having said that, because I am who I am, and I open doors, I expect you to open doors if you are curious. If I am coming to you and I'm running a little bit late, I don't want to hear any bullshit about it because I'm never late. You know what I mean? Like, we'll read each other and understand that dynamic. I don't do drugs, I don't drink. But I can have cocktails. And so I'm not afraid of anything that can happen. If you have a drug addiction, I'm not worried about it. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about it. Because I will, someday I will want to party too. I'm not dead yet. But having said that, we will understand who we are and we will rise together. But I'm going to say this right now. Because of where I'm being led, I'm going to trust the universe and say this out loud and put it out there. Honey, make your move soon. Because I'm going with or without anyone else. Because I need to show up for my life with myself. And so I know that the divine is very clear on this. This needs to happen by this weekend. Because this weekend changes things for my life. And if this person wants to be part of this, they need to, as he put it, man up. Which, it makes me think that this person is maybe a little bit effeminate. Which is fine, because that doesn't bother me. It's not my journey to be with a female. That's it. That's this path. And for whatever reason, my soul is dead set on it being a dude. And so, because I just don't see gender. But anyway, it's a dude. Sometimes I feel I keep getting this download of Gabriel and Michael, the archangels. Don't know why, but I mean, it's just like that type of dynamic. Because I was thinking of, oops, I almost said his name. My best friend and someone who my heart is just with, but it's just straight, and I just can't. You can't dishonor someone else's truth. So if that person is straight and I'm gay, that's never going to work out. So obviously that's not the energy that, I mean, even though it's my focal point and my intuition is kind of circling this person, it might be that my other half comes to me through this person. So I'm open and I'm not standing in my own way. I mean, I really thought it was the California aspect, but I don't believe in limits. So, And that's the thing about social. But see, here's the thing about social platforms is like 200 cigarettes. Oh, poor you! You were getting all this. Dude, did you ever stop to think that maybe the divine is giving you all these options in that way? Because in that crust of possibilities, the one for you is in that. Otherwise, why put so much effort in one area coming at you? Did you ever consider that? Because my guides are like, this motherfucker's gonna fuck this shit up. And I don't know if it's you or me, because like because I have a mouth on me, which apparently turns you on. Anyway, at the end of the day, guys, when you show up for the swamps and you come back from judgment or wherever you're coming from, you're going to have to walk with your integrity and you're going to have to make some tough choices. Look, I will always choose love. I will always choose love, but I have to choose love with me first. And you all have to do this. If you're going to be the king and the queen, do not lie to yourself and say, I'm going to be a sing-alone person. What if the divine, because it's outside of our control, this is where your vibrancy and your vibrational pull becomes a factor. I always said I can do this by myself because I can. But when I got to a certain vibration, my brain, and well, my superconscious went, wouldn't we be more effective if we were like in a duo? And then suddenly it became, oh, you're going to have two business partners in your lifetime. One's going to be your best friend, who I've already met. And then it, and then your lover is going to start as another best friend, and then that will evolve very quickly. It will be immediate. And then you're going to have a business partner. So that's like three people, and then there's a fourth person. And so I had to be open to it, but the way that it happened was very gradual. I wasn't harsh on myself. I understood that at the time I was not able to see the world through the eyes of being in a partnership because I felt like it would make me vulnerable. And now I'm on the flip side of it, and all I see is empowerment. Because the queens that I see in the world, there's an empress. There's at least three, actually, that I see. Well, four. Because Chandler, girl, I don't know where the fuck you've been, sweetheart, but come back, Chandler. Um, but there are three empresses that are about to rise. One is clearly, man, this girl. I have more than 60 minutes for this chick. I'll just put it that way. And then there's Natalie. And then there's one of them who's just she's a trip. And they're going to be part of unions that are unorthodox to some degree, but that are going to be seen very, very much in a syndicated type of way. The same as me with my partner. My partner's probably, like, because I'm so outgoing, I'm wondering if my partner is much like, he is outgoing and in the public eye, but doesn't want to be in the public eye that much, and kind of just wants to chill out at home. Honey, you got to get over that, because our blessings can't come in if you are worried about something that doesn't matter anyway. It's you and me. The only two people on this planet, beside our kids, if we decide to have any, or if you already have them, is us. And so it's, you look at me and I look at you, the same way that, like, Stedman and Oprah look at each other. It is irrelevant what is going on. They always have that connection with each other. There is the wind beneath the wings, and if you are the wind, then you are the wings. You are one with each other. So then we just look at each other and go, okay, let's make it through this public function, and then we'll go eat in real life. Like Angelina Jolie did, where they would go to the Oscars, and then she would go get, In and Out. Because I saw her, I think I saw her when I was passing Hollywood High, so it must have been on Sunset. Right on Highland. Yeah, that's where the In-N-Out is. I can't believe I remember that. It's been a while. I'm going back to Cali apparently at some point, but going back to Cali. Actually, there's three possibilities now. It keeps growing. My guides are cracking up because they're like, "Well, we haven't decided where you're going yet. You have to decide for yourself." Anyway, bye guys. So, honey, if this is you, if that's what's stopping you, this is it, honey. I'm supposed to tell you straight out the gate. This weekend changes everything. Either you're on or you're off. Oh, that's weird. I almost said I love you, like out of nowhere. I was like, I love you. Yeah, you and I have definitely been together in previous lives. I think I just got a weird, interesting. My guy just goes, you haven't just been with each other. You've always been meant to be together. That's kind of sweet. Anyway, bygones. So the moral story is, guys, that's how you get out of the marshlands. That's how you're going to make the spiritual jump. That's how the switch is going to happen. And you're going to do it with such a high vibration. Like, even though it seems kind of heavy, everything I was talking about, notice that none of it weighs me down. It's full of joy and frivolity. At the end of the day, the divine is the ultimate knowledge. It's the ultimate win for you to be in alignment with that energy. So though you may go back and forth sometimes, at the end of the day, the brain is still learning too. Otherwise, you wouldn't exist. But you don't overpower the brain. The brain still directs the information. But if you send back a signal that says this is not going to work, and it's a valid point, then what the fuck are you worried about? The brain's not going to go, well, let's kill ourselves. It's going to go, oh, well, that's why you're doing this. That's why you're doing this. You were doing this to learn this so that I get the information back, and then we figure out another route. But everybody's so afraid to say anything, and you must abide by. This is not Hitler. This is where you're moving away from. And that's how you're going to get out of the swamp. That's it for me on Al. For some reason lately, anytime I say something super true, I start to like, it's like almost like the energy was like built up inside of me, and I was like, and now I can cough it out. That's it for Alan Altruistic Channel. Honey, 504-515-4412. Make the call. It's time to man up. We're riding out. We are riding out, and it's a beautiful day to start this conversation. We may be on lockdown, but that doesn't mean that we can't start communicating. And the emperor that I'm marrying, or the empress that I'm marrying, depending on what you are, because I'm going to honor whoever you are. It's time to show up. And that's it for it, guys. Alan Altruistic Channels. I know that the big switch comes for me. I kept thinking it was this period, and I just realized that maybe it's this moment. This is the moment, I guess, that the switch happened. It's this conversation, because it's 100% the truth. And I guess that's the switch that needed to happen, was that there's nothing blocking me. I'm not afraid of anyone. There's nothing worrying me. I'm about to walk into nowhere and just be like, let's do this! You know, like one little bag, a computer bag, and like 2 pairs of clothes. And I'm going to be like, let's roll! That's what life's about. It's a journey. It's a wonderful experience in the world if you can get past the illusion. And if you're a hater, good luck to you, baby. It's going to be a long, hard road. I'm glad you were in my life. You taught me a lot. But you will not see me again. And I love you for all of the effort and energy you sent me, whether good or bad, because it could not have been more helpful to me now. All right, guys, you have a great, blessed day. Good luck. For those of you who are Catholic or Islamic or whatever your faith is, if you're going to judgment, just remember it's just you manning up and taking accountability for your life, and then coming back and doing the work you need to do. It's nothing that you can't survive. If you are a philosophical mindset, then understand you're making your way out of that consciousness, that lower extremity, into a new world, into what I call Eden. But Eden still has a religious context, so let's call it an expansive way of thinking. You are moving into a limitless creator status, and that's a reward in and of itself. That's it for me, guys. You have a wonderful day. Bye.